All right, and we're live. Let me get a sip of water. Get my radio voice going. All right, let's go to YouTube. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, representing Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness. You guys roll in and click that like. Get some questions going. Let's have fun today. Let's keep this one fun. Let's keep it fun. You guys be polite. I'll be polite. My tolerance for bullshit's going to be approximately 0. Actually, -1, give or take. Give or take 1. How's that sound? Got to have a little wiggle room. All right. So, got a lot of people in here already rolling in. Let's get some questions going. Let's talk about lifting fitness. Hey, Jason, trying max effort today on week 40. Usually do 3 LME attempts. You do not try more than 3 reps, well, 3 attempts above 90%. Like once you know you've hit 90%, at most you do 2 more lifts. You do not do 4. That's usually what's recommended at Westside on a max effort day. Is there such thing as being torso dominant versus limb dominant, or just a bro science? Or I don't even know what in the hell they are talking about when they say that. Like for it to be bro science, someone needs to actually define it. You know, what does that mean? Like, what does that actually mean? Hey, coach, thoughts on utilizing front squats in my rotation? If you like them, you want to do them, do them. Okay, after today's max, what do you think your current max is? Oh, my max would suck this week. That's why I've got to build back up. And I do feel like a lot of it's hydration, diet, electrolytes, all of that is definitely playing a role at this point. I think it will be a lot better next week based on the adjustments I'm making now, looking back at history. I think it'll start going right back up. Will you hire clients? No, clients hire me. It would really depend on what their disabilities are, right? I mean, I can't answer that without knowing the specifics. Thoughts on replacing front squat with SSB squats with handles set high? Perfectly fine. Can ACH grow facial bones? Maybe in theory. Leroy, I can't give you advice on Candido's 6-week program. Sorry. I can only advise you on programming I give you. Right? I don't even know what's in Candido's 6-week program. Adam, just changing weight around. Right? I do need to be taking that up though. I need to be getting heavier. I want my max work, well, my top set to be heavier and to be a little lighter for my assistant's work. Is graphology work? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Happy Monday, Coach. Well, happy Monday to you, Timmy. Coach, thoughts on John Meadows recommending to stop an inch above the chest for incline bench press for shoulder health and longevity while still stimulating the upper chest? I don't know about that. It is hard for some of us to touch the chest. On the incline, I need over 135. I need about 185 to be able to touch. Once I get enough weight on there, I can touch quite fine. It's not uncomfortable. It's just that I can't get it to touch with an empty bar. I physically can't touch my chest. I just can't do it on an incline. No matter how hard I squeeze my lats together. But with enough weight, it's not uncomfortable even for my shoulders. Actually, it feels good for me if you touch in the right spot. Jason, your traps have blown up in the last few months. Yeah, I think they probably have. Is it because your thick back, darker, my lats and everything get all just squished together? They get squished together on certain movements. Hey, Coach, any depth predictions? Man, I'm not going to put that sort of bad juju out there. you know? Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to put that sort of bad juju out and start making death predictions on people again because, that's not cool. Because a bunch of those came true that I made. And I just don't want to be that sort of person, you know? Have you ever had a barbell slip and fall on you at any point? I got close that one time with a cambered bar in the monolift, but it missed me. That's the only one I can really think of. Um, Zach Telendar recently doing super deep pause squats 5 seconds as part of his new program he's selling. Oh, he's selling the program. Luke, I'm not going to talk about my personal life like that. Nobody's business. So if I can touch my chest on incline barbell, would you recommend to still touch or stop an inch above? I don't stop visual, and I have to actually have weight to compress it. No, I don't think we need to do that. But then again, I guess it would really depend on what's going on with your body and your movement, you know? What do you think of Steve Shaw's dumbbell strength standard? He said shoulder pressing 80s for 10 reps, flat pressing 100 will get you big and strong. Well, do you disagree with that? Orton massage. I want you to think about that for a moment. Is he wrong? Do you see anybody who can do those sort of weights on dumbbells for full range of motion for that many reps who isn't big? It would be pretty difficult to pull that off. Right? And Luca, back to your question, I have a lot of close friends and family, but I don't make it public. I don't discuss it in public. It's nobody's business who I hang out with and what I do. Right? It just makes my life better. Jason, why do you have a rack and a dedicated flat bench station? Could you just do the flat bench in your rack? I could, Jake. I could totally do that. Or I could use the bench station so that I have consistency. Don't have to find that sweet spot with the bench, all that stuff, and I can just walk over and bench. It makes life a lot easier. Plus, it was easier to set up with bands and stuff when I was doing conjugate. Right? I like having a dedicated bench station. I actually like it a lot. Even though I'm kind of tight for space at this point, using a 2-car garage for it, to me, it's worth it. Thoughts on lowering the bar to the clavicle for incline bench? That's what I do. Visualize, if you watch my vlog today, like watch the 225 set, right? The set with 225, I touch it up here. I touch right about here on the incline. The dad bod will bring all the single moms. Timmy be bringing all the girls to the yard. I get comments every freaking time. I'm at the store. Oh, let's see. All right. Luke, I knew you as a troll. All right. Dr. Mike Alexander Brahmi. Roderick Chavez and Tunderer said that heavy singles is testing and not training. What do you think? It's still training. You telling me there's no training response? Are you telling me that doing heavy singles won't make you better at doing heavy singles, Dan? Of course it will. Are you going to get a large tissue adaptation from it? No. But that's why we don't do a lot of heavy singles. The overwhelming majority of all of our training is rep work. If I were to do farmer's walks as GPP, would you recommend doing them at the end of the lower or upper days? I would start with lower days. All right. Thoughts on Ken Obuti recommending the guillotine press for chest growth. It's basically a bench press with lowering. I know what a guillotine press is. I don't think it's the best thing in the world to do for your shoulders, to be honest with you. I'm not a big fan of the guillotine press. Jason, have you tried using Hinge or Bumble? I don't know what those are. Is your shoulder pain related to the shoulder muscle tendons or is it in the joint? Mine tends to be infraspinatus and stuff like that. I don't have any right now, though, so it's actually good. Anybody said that overhead press is better to build the Hollywood physique than bench? Simply not true. Unless you mean you build less muscle, so therefore they want you to be smaller. I don't know. There's some pretty big guys in Hollywood these days, though. And how many of those movies, when you look at when they put out their workout programs, are doing bench pressing? Do you agree with Inkiri saying we should do as little work as we can get away with while still making gains? Well, that's essentially saying you don't do jump volume, right? And I agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. What is your thoughts on the Spoto press? Oh, someone said, why don't you do pull-ups? Because they cause problems in my shoulders. Not lack of ability. You guys have seen me crank out some pretty decent performance on them in the past. They're hard on my shoulders. I get inflammation and impingement issues if I'm not very, very, very careful. So to me, that makes it generally not worth it. Thoughts on the Spoto press? It's a good assistance lift. It's not a game changer. It's not anything magical, but it's a good assistance exercise. Advantages of the floor press compared to the bench press, dude. I have whole videos on that. That's a rather complex topic. Malik, I don't know the answers to your questions. My car knowledge goes back to previous eras. I don't know what people are always doing anymore. I do have some friends who are still serious car guys, so I talk to them a little bit. And I know that kind of turbo LSs seem to kind of be what guys are doing these days if they want the most horsepower for their money. But outside of that, I don't know anything about O'Reilly's auto parts or anything like that. Right? No, Dan, you should still be reading strength training info, right? You should understand how all of it works. Coach, what are your thoughts on Chuck Baxter not taking his medication? I think your prophecy on him will be fulfilled. Man, I don't want to put energy into that. If someone has seen him, link it in my Facebook, though, if he said he's not taking his medication. Not good. Coach, in your opinion, do you ever see the United States legalizing testosterone like alcohol? Man, I would rather see testosterone legalized than alcohol made illegal. I think they should switch places. I want to include Bulgarian split squats into my routine, but I already had a scary fall from balancing issues. Learn to balance better. Is speed work BS? No, I prescribe it. Nobody says tequila is the healthiest alcohol beverage. There's no healthy alcoholic beverage. Right. Anti-propaganda. Wow, wow. That's harsh, man. I shouldn't be laughing at that. I'm trying not to stir up stuff. I'm not laughing at bad, man. You shouldn't be saying things like that about other people. Is AMRAP set the best time to use my daily berserker rage? Maybe my third ME attempt instead. Yeah, because you got there's a 24-hour cooldown on that berserker rage, right? What is it? What's the cooldown on it? So if you got a 24-hour cooldown, you got to save it for that final attempt. Darko, I'm doing some adjustments with the algorithm. And if I'm right, it's going to be beautiful. But it's going to take time. Why do you think behind the neck? What do you think of behind the neck barbell presses? I used to do them on camera. I don't think they're worth it. You guys only bringing up Greg because you want to hear Jason hit on. I know, man, and I don't want to hate on people, guys. Coach, your beginner routine, would it be okay to add weighted chin-ups on the deadlift day rather than rows? If you're capable, maybe, but I want you to have rows in there at least one of those days. Right? Sup, coach, I did 2 times 30 banded overhead tricep extensions. Do them as press downs. It'd be better for your tendons. What do you think speed work, even at lower percentages, builds strength? It's rate of force production, but there will be some hypertrophy from it. Coach, I feel bad today. Yesterday I went to a wedding and I got super drunk. You need to get hydrated. Here's my question though. You went to a wedding, right? You went to the reception. Did you get some stanky on your hang down? Right? Because that's the whole reason young single dudes even go to weddings. That's the only reason we used to go. Other than, support your bro, show up, be part of the groomsmen, knowing he's going to be divorced in 3 years, Oh, can I lift a 3x10 back off work after MEB rotated every week like MEB lift? Are they better? I think for the benching, you can get away with that, but I would rather see you do something consistent so you can progress on it. Can pullovers widen the rib cage? No, they can't. No. Can you incorporate play? Well, you can do rep maxes, right? As long as they're not too high, up to 5s. It can be done on max effort days, but as Dave Tate would say, it's not really max effort. We can call it a heavy set. You can do it on LME day, but just remember, it's not true max effort unless it's a heavy single. Programming wise, though, you can still do it. Just you'll see some people who will make points like that, right? That just technically, it's not technically max effort. What do you think of Fairlife high protein milk? No, it's legit. Could GH grow bones? Malik, I don't know. I've the knowledge. How do we put this? The evidence for that is subject to a great deal of debate. I think, though, if the doses get really high, but again, we're talking, I've seen it said that most people have only seen that in bodybuilders who are like 15 plus units a day. That's a lot. Jason, I don't drink any alcohol, Jake. I have been completely sober for over 4 years now. I have not had any alcohol. And I'm a better person for it, right? I'm a better person for it. I don't want to return to drinking. When I did some of the stupidest stuff and worst mistakes I've made in my life, it's when I was drinking heavily. I'm just not at my best when I drink, and I prefer not to go back to it. See, and how rare is it for you? We all screw up our training on the volume. I think overdoing it sometimes is my biggest mistake. You just adjust and move forward. Sometimes I feel like finesse movements like tricep push-downs are absolutely pointless and normally generate more local fatigue. Well, they still build triceps. Do you agree it takes way less volume intensity to maintain the muscle you built versus trying to build new tissue? I don't know about the intensity side. Yep. All right. Funny enough, at the reception after bro, don't be, no, dude, you can't be telling that. Girls don't want to hear you do that at the wedding. I do appreciate the love still, but you may have cock blocked yourself with that one. Malik, sorry, dude. I don't meet up with people who are fans. It's just too high risk. Malik, considering that I have stalkers and have had to have law enforcement and even the FBI involved, you could see why that wouldn't be wise on my part. The Facebook algorithm. Yeah, no, there's a lot going on with it as far as the Facebook algorithm. I am in a creators group that's an invite only group. And I have definitely talked with Meta employees. People are going to say, no, he hasn't. It's fine, whatever. I'm an invite only group. Look at the size of my page. So it's complicated right now. It's really complicated. And I've talked to a lot of other big pages, people who have a lot of followers, and they've all had problems with the algorithm, but I think I know what's wrong with it. And I think I've got enough advice from the people at Meta, I can work around it. But it's a matter of getting it back on track. But I'm not going to give details on that in here. Right? What's the best way to socialize if you don't drink skooma or meat at all? You don't have to have alcohol to socialize, dude. Coach thoughts of more plates, more dates, trying to make more ethical videos, even though he sells scam supplements. I don't think he should be able to do that. I mean, that's a complex topic, right? So here's what I would say on that. Derek has actually done some good stuff for the community, and you can't take that away from him. And we have to be honest there. Like, if we're going to be completely honest, you can hate someone and still, if they've done something good, if you're a fair person, you're going to get credit for something good they've done, right? So you've got to look at it this way with Derek. He has done some very good stuff for the community. However, he does sell some scam products. And that does make it complicated from an ethical perspective for him to discuss ethics. It really does, until he stops selling those scam products. Right now, if he puts it in the past and gets up and says, you know what, SARMs are kind of stupid. This Turkestone is a scam. I realize it's a scam. I'm going to quit selling it. I'm sorry. Okay. You see what I mean? That's different, because then if he puts it in the past. And a lot of people say, oh, you can't just forgive someone for being a scam. Well, if we don't, then it's going to encourage people to keep doing it. You know, we really should encourage people to stop partaking in these scams, because how else are you going to change the behavior? Right? How else are you going to change the behavior if we don't give incentives to people to stop being scam artists? We've got to be willing to forgive when people step away from their scams and say, you know what? I shouldn't be doing this. I'm sorry. Because we need to push that back into the fitness culture. We need to. So we have to be willing to forgive if they put it in the past. How many sets for back can your body handle per week? That's subject to all your stimulus and fatigue that's going on. Yeah, it definitely was a bit strange. Did you actually search your name on YouTube? And we played some of your videos at the wedding. Oh my God, it was super funny. I've heard of funnier stuff. I've known of some couples who actually watch my videos together in bed. You know, not during sex or anything. But it's just kind of funny. I've seen some coaches admit to that. Is there any current investigation? I'm not going to discuss that, Darko. What do you think? Thoughts on swapping out barbell rows with inverted rows? They're not entirely interchangeable, but they can fill similar slots. Does pausing at the bottom of a squat challenge your quads to the same degree as it does your glutes? No, it probably challenges quads more, but it also forces you to learn to stay tighter. Keep in mind, you are also potentially losing a little bit of overall stimulus, though, losing that stretch reflex. So it depends on what you're doing, really. Punishing people for doing good things is probably what they mean by the sin against the holy, against the ghost. No, I'm not sure that's what they mean by it. But, the thing is, at the end of the day, when people are willing to do better, if you don't encourage that, then you're giving people no incentive to stop doing it. So that's kind of the point with that. So I do think that we, as a fitness community, when people are willing to stop selling scam products and apologize for it, we need to be willing to forgive them. Otherwise, we're encouraging the behavior. So like, I have nothing to gain by stopping. People are still going to hate me, and I'm going to make less money. See, that's not good. Oh man, you need to encourage them. Coach, what are your favorite compound? There are no such thing as compounded isolation exercises. Hi, Jason. I just killed legs. Took me 30 minutes longer to walk home from the gym. You don't got to kill them like that, man. Got to hop for now. Thanks for answering my conjugate questions. Low Tarogar, Coach. Do you like ME singles more, AMRAPs more when you do reps on top sets? Do you recommend one over it? Marco, it depends on what you're doing in your training. I think they both can work. They both have their place. Do high rep body weight inverted rows have a place in any strength program? Yeah, potentially. The winner at the wedding was absolutely you, Coach. That's a first. Coach Sam Saluk says the underhand pull down is the best bicep exercise. Would you agree? No. Nothing special about it. Have you tried playing side guitar yet? You mean that thing sitting right by my hat, right there? See my finger? You mean one of those things? No, man, I don't know what slide guitar is. Bulking is the best biceps exercise. Probably some truth to that. Oh, Jake, you want that line when I used to wear the robe, and I'm like, hey, everybody, this is Jason Blaha here. Just sitting in my robe, drinking my morning coffee, looking sexy as hell. And for those of you who think I don't look sexy as hell, nobody cares what you think. I didn't ask you shit. That one. Thoughts on megadosing vitamin B6 or tyrosine for enhanced dopamine and thus productivity? Sounds like bullshit to me. Coach, how do you advise managing training with a busy schedule? You work it in, right? Sometimes it takes a lot of lube. What are your thoughts on Greg Doucette saying Sam Luke is only using blah, 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 blah? Visualize, do you think that's even possible? In what delusional fucking world? What delusional fucking world is that even possible? And I can't believe, I mean, I know Greg is a con man. I can't believe that Greg would be enough of a con man to say that bullshit. Somebody link me that on my Facebook in a DM, please. I don't even believe Greg is a big enough con man to say that stupid shit. Ever mess with Adderall? Nope. Just needs mop said, hey coach, how you doing, bro? I can link it after the stream. No, you don't even need to discuss those weirdos in my thing. Bye. The fact that you know who both of them are concurrently tells me you need mental help and you don't get to post here. Will we see you compete before year's end? That remains a mystery. Do that one more time. The people's eyebrow. Coach, for someone who wants to pursue bodybuilding, do you think it's possible to win shows on less than a gram of gear? No. Like, you notice I didn't even have to stop and think about that one. You're talking about bodybuilding? You mean natural bodybuilding? Maybe on a gram. You're going to win at bodybuilding. Like, you're talking 2023 bodybuilding? If you're going to do 2023 bodybuilding, you need to go ahead and start looking for your spare liver, and you need to figure out how in the hell you're going to inject that much stuff physically into your body. You know, you have to find extra injection sites. A gram. Not the way they're playing these days. Is a 405 bench to the goal for this year? Yes. You do the people's eyebrow better than The Rock. I don't know about that. It's kind of hard to top The Rock on some stuff. Didn't he win like Sexiest Man of the Year award? I think he did. He got voted that one year. That's difficult to beat. Trying to compete with a guy who won Sexiest Man of the Year. Are you willing to coach someone who doesn't focus on the big three, don't really train for deadlift at all? That would have to be discussed in the application. Like I have made exceptions on that, but I would have to look at the application if you put one in. I wanted to pursue classic physique. My weight cap would only be 192. Visualize. I don't know what to tell you on that, man. You may need to go talk to some prep coaches. Coach, do you think the doses above should be illegal? How do you handle that? Like, how do you determine what doses of stuff should be illegal? I mean, here's my stance on it. I think the average American diet is considerably worse than what the average gear user puts into their body. That's perfectly legal. You can give McDonald's to your child. So, do you see the issue with the legal side of this? Oh, doses above TRT. No, absolutely not. I don't think anabolics should be illegal at all. I think they should be maybe as controlled as alcohol. And I think that alcohol's current restrictions, I think that would be perfectly reasonable. You should bring your signature mount by Cepheus move rather than imitate The Rock. Miko, the thing is, the people's eyebrow thing I just did on my own. I didn't even know I was doing it at first. It just comes natural. I realized later when I was filming myself that I do it. Does junk food have health consequences even if you're lean with healthy body weight? Maybe. Visualize. You asked me that in a previous stream already. I already answered you. In your experience, do you feel deadlifts are harder for taller people compared to someone of average height? No, deadlifts are easier for tall people. Mike, that is actually one lift that tall people don't get that cop out on. Tall people have a advantage on the deadlift. It's easier for you guys. Guys over 6 foot tend to have the best deadlifts in the world. Can pinning shoulders make them look bigger? Pinning any muscle can make it look bigger. Has bodybuilding taught you nothing? How much fake muscle do you think is on the average Mr. Olympia stage? Not just delts, but arms, pecs, everything. I promise you, every guy on that stage has at least 3 inches of fake muscle in his arms, in his arm measurement. Every one of them, just from side enhancement. And that's probably the minimum. Thoughts on not adding weight to the bar, but rather focusing on increasing bar speed and technique. I mean, Well, technique, okay, fine. If your technique improves, that's good. Increasing bar speed, if you can increase bar speed, right, you probably should be adding weight at that point. Do you have any advice for people who have physically demanding jobs and reduced recovery? Yeah, you're going to have to adjust your diet, adjust your sleep, and your training is going to have to be adjusted around it. Everything. That's how coaching works. I mean, for me as a coach, I construct that around the fatigue management of the individual. So again, you have to match what you can recover from based upon your lifestyle. Do you think banning alcohol would help curb consumption, or is it just going to make it more alluring? See, that's the issue, Miko. I don't have the answer to that. I mean, I think alcohol is terrible. And if we were going to outlaw anything, that should be near the top of the list. Right? But that didn't work out too well last time we did it. And prohibitions don't tend to help that much, unfortunately. So I don't know what the solution is to alcohol. I'm not big on taking away people's choices, though. I'm just not big on government imposing itself on people's lives. It's not a big fan. I know there's worse ways of poisoning your body if you're trying to be as healthy as possible. Is the level of arsenic and rice of any concern? Not really. Are 20-inch arms achievable drug-free without being super fat? They're extremely rare. So far as to say that you'd have to be a genetic freak for that to even be a possibility. Miko, it's blaringly obvious. Right? It's blaringly obvious that most of the IFBB guys are pinning tons of stuff in their arms. Like it doesn't look much different today. Especially the triceps. The triceps look fake as hell. Like every single one of them looks like fake muscle, their whole lateral tricep. Like every guy on that stage when you look at any of them. And I don't even know who they are anymore. I don't keep up with their names. Coach, what would lifters who are shorter lifters be better at? I'll do bench press straight up, pound for pound. Squat on a pound per pound also. Malik, that's subject to a massive amount of debate as far as side enhancement. You're going to have to go talk to a lot of bodybuilding experts who would be able to answer that for you, because I don't know for sure. Right? My best deadlift is 540 at 170 body weight. I'm currently 180. It's not as lean, and my lifetime goal is 600 at 185 drug-free. Your client Justin is my inspiration because he's same height. How tall are you? Because Justin's about 5'10". But yeah, he's right there knocking on 600, legitimately drug-free. Yeah, in the 180s. So yeah, pretty similar there. I'm shooting for a 700 deadlift drug-free. Can give me a coach believes in you blessing. Elite coach believes in you. You can do this. I don't know anything about Rob Little's death. I don't even know who he is. Someone actually told me, you made a video about him. You don't know who he is? Because keep in mind, I don't remember all these people I made videos on. So I actually had to do a channel search because someone tried to say that. I'm like, did I make a video on him? I have no clue who he is. People had to tell me who he was. I did a channel search and the name Rodzilla didn't appear in my channel search. So as far as I know, I didn't even do a video on him before. People said I did. It's possible. I couldn't find it. No, I don't know, and I don't really care. I mean, because, and it's not to sound callous, but I can't investigate the death of every human being on the earth, and it's not even a fitness influencer. He didn't have a channel, doesn't have, so I'm not going to dig into it, right? And again, it's not that I think his death is not a bad thing. I mean, people dying is not a good thing. But he's not someone of interest to me. So I'm not going to dig into it. Yes, I'm 5'9.5", almost 5'10", but I sold hard after I took a deadlift. Okay, yeah, cool. Coach, how much of a surplus percentage should I target for a lean bulk? You need to focus on how much scale weight you gain, right? And you're not going to know the exact percentage of your surplus. Just keep the surplus small and know how much lean muscle you are going to be capable of gaining a month, and keep your weight gain very close to that. He was part of, yeah, but Miko, the Del Rey Misfits aren't really fitness either, are they? Right? They're not really fitness. They're definitely not strength. They just seem to be kind of like just a freak show, a clown show. It has an enormous trolling culture around it. I don't want more of that trolling culture in my life. I've had too much of it. Thanks, Coach. I'm 6'1", so I might actually be able to do a 700 deadlift. I'm in the league. Just get in and find out. You're not going to know till you dedicate the years and see where you get. Box squats, good morning. Single leg accessories, trifecta of back squat and deadlift gains. No, not necessarily. They're definitely up there. Glute ham raises, reverse hypers, all that stuff have their place too. Okay. All right. Let's see, we're at 42 minutes. See if we get in a couple more good questions in before we wind it down. What is your current approximate fat percentage protein? I just adjusted my diet today. I don't ever do percentages. Right. So today it's back to just trying to get 200 grams of animal source protein and just everything else from fruit for a little bit, right? Because you're going to work in another carb. At that point, that means the only fat I'm really eating is my chicken and my fish oil. Future, yeah, I track calories loosely. I don't do that many actual meals, Mike. I snack through the day. Ever do high box squats to address a weakness in your box squat? Nope. No, Jake, I'm not going to do that. The bison is too fatty of a meat, to be honest, the bison I was getting. I've noticed Christian Guzman's hairline is starting to recede. He couldn't be that young, man. He's been on YouTube a decade. How old is the guy? Thoughts on Anavar only for a first cycle like Chavez or Israel recommend? I don't know about that. I mean, I do understand why some people do choose to go for it oral only first. I don't know the Anavar only would, maybe. Assuming you can get real Anavar. A noob to gear probably isn't going to find real Anavar, though. I find starch to be more satiating. Oh, the fruits are more satiating than a lot of starchy carbs are for me, and higher antioxidant status, more potassium, right? More potassium and a lot more antioxidants. When you bulk, how much do you increase your calories by? I haven't bulked in a while, but I'd recommend just very small increases, a couple hundred, and then assess from there. No, Zanjoy, that's not what I would recommend that you do for conjugate. Visualize. Since you agree that saturated fat is bad, does that mean you agree with vegans more than carnivores? Ooh, now that's an interesting question. Okay. If I'm going to be honest, I don't like veganism, but it's what they do better than the carnivore diet from a health perspective. Yes. In general, a vegan diet is probably going to be healthier than a carnivore diet on average. And I don't think that that's a particularly controversial statement. If we go off the evidence, if we put all of our emotion and opinions aside and look at the data objectively. Yeah, Miko, assuming they're not adding coconut and stuff. Yeah, if they're adding a bunch of coconut oil, they're going to have heart attacks. So that doesn't work either. Then they're junk food vegans at that point, and they might as well just go full carnivore. Okay, maybe not, but you see what I'm saying. Like, if they actually think the saturated fat in coconuts is magical and not going to give them cardiovascular disease in large amounts because it comes from a plant, then they're fucking morons who are ignoring the data. So it's generally because they eat more fruits and vegetables and their diet is low in saturated fat. That's usually why they're going to be better off than that other group. All right. Well, I don't know what vegan gains eats, to be honest. But there are what they call junk food vegans, which is absurdly unhealthy. Like, they have no high ground as far as the data goes for health. All right, guys, we're 47 minutes in. It's time to wind this down. So I hope it's been informative. And I love all of you guys and gals. And I will talk to you next time.